A lawsuit is targeting RTD over its planned cuts to the Access on Demand program. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sam Shocker. The lawsuit announced today claims the cuts to the service will negatively impact Coloradans with disabilities. The lawsuit seeks to stop the cuts. Lawyers argue the plan would raise costs and cut service for riders with disabilities while lowering fares for other riders. They say that amounts to discrimination and violates both the Americans with Disabilities Act and Colorado state law. We'll have more on the filing later today on 9 News. An investigation is underway into a house fire in Commerce City that sent 2 people to the hospital and took the lives of several puppies. Fire crews were called out to Cremeria near 80th Avenue just after 7 o'clock this morning. They arrived within a few minutes and found flames coming out from the front windows, along with 1 person still inside. They got that person out safely along with several dogs, but were too late to save 4 puppies. The cause of the fire is now under investigation. And a firefighter is recovering from minor injuries after falling through the floor of a burning home in southwest Denver. It happened Sunday afternoon near Alameda and Knox. Fire officials say a fire in the crawl space burned through the first floor and a firefighter fell through an opening. Fire officials say other firefighters quickly rescued him, but he had minor burns on his arm. The cause of that fire is also under investigation. Police in Lakewood are asking for help after a woman was found dead in her home this weekend. Police say they were called to a home on Kendall Street near Belmar Saturday night. Police are calling it a burglary turned homicide, but they haven't released many other details. They haven't reported making any arrests. If you have a home or a business in that area, police are asking you to check your security cameras for anything suspicious. Colorado State Patrol has released new details on the arrest of a Denver police officer for felony eluding and reckless endangerment. Turns out, CSP says the officer was leading a trooper on a chase while going more than 100 miles an hour. CSP says on October 24th, a trooper clocked DPD officer Christopher Thomas going 102 miles an hour on Highway 58, just a few miles west of I-70. The trooper reported he caught up with Thomas on eastbound I-70 just before Kipling, but when trying to pull the truck over, the driver quickly sped up. CSP says the trooper followed him for a short time, but then stopped because of traffic and the truck's speed that exceeded 100 miles an hour. The trooper got Thomas's license plate, though, and when troopers went to the address, they say the truck was in the area and sped off again. An arrest warrant went out, but Thomas wasn't arrested until Friday, more than a month later. He's now on leave without pay as the case makes its way through the court system. Several students and staff from a Grand Junction High School are in the hospital today after a series crash in Lakewood this weekend. It happened at 6th and Kipling about 7:30 Saturday night. The students are members of a wrestling team who were traveling on a small bus that collided with another car. At least 15 people went to the hospital, and it's still not clear how many people were on the bus and in the other car. Investigators are also working to figure out what led up to that crash. Heads up for drivers tonight. Crews will shut down the westbound lanes of I-70 overnight between the E-470 exits starting at 9 p.m. The westbound lanes will stay closed until 5 tomorrow morning as workers take down old overhead signs and install new ones for the Piccadilly Interchange project. During the closure, drivers will exit at E-470, loop back around, and rejoin westbound I-70 using the on-ramp. Well, we have some nice sun. Look at that outside. Gorgeous blue skies, 50-degree temps today, but extremely high winds are expected for the foothills tonight. So let's check in now with senior meteorologist Chris Bianchi with our 9 News Weather Impact team. Lots of wind, huh, Chris?
Lots of wind, exactly right. Not the just kind of a little bit breezy. This is going to be the real deal kind of wind for us here in the foothills and in parts of the Denver urban corridor, Denver-Boulder urban corridor. We've got a high wind watch in place for Fort Collins, Boulder, and the west side of the Denver metro area, including Broomfield, Arvada, as well as Golden for tonight. In pink, high wind warning. That means higher confidence and stronger winds for tonight. In yellow, still very strong winds, 60 to 75 mile an hour winds late tonight for us here on the west side of the metro area, as well as on north into Boulder. Meantime, those strongest winds up to 90, maybe even 95 mile an hour winds for us here and some of those mountain tops. Here's what I'd say here, folks. If you have to travel to or from the mountains, get that done today. Try not to do it tonight. I don't know if you've ever driven through 90 mile an hour winds, but that is not fun, and that is seriously on a much more dangerous side for us, especially Berthoud Pass, Loveland Pass. Those will be really nasty for you later on tonight. Otherwise, winds will start to ramp up this evening. So again, if you have to travel through the mountains, you're fine today. Even early this evening, generally fine. Windy, but then, again, when we're talking about just avoid places like the Peak Highway, Highway 93, some of those really windy spots for us here on the west side of the metro area. Those are going to be very rough goes for you tonight and early tomorrow. That wind will gradually back off through the day. Tomorrow will stay windy, but not as bad for tomorrow night. I'll have more details on all the wind and when we might see rain or snow in Denver coming up in a few minutes.
Chris, thank you. Democrat Julie Gonzalez, who represents Denver in the state Senate, announced this morning she will challenge U.S. Senator John Hickenlooper in the primary. Hickenlooper's seat is up for re-election in November. Gonzalez, who has been a state senator since 2019, has sponsored bills that have solidified abortion rights into state law. She was also a sponsor of the bill that prohibits state employees from sharing information with immigration. Hickenlooper was elected in 2020 and will finish his first term next year. So far, no high-profile Republican candidates have announced a run for Hickenlooper's seat. And State Representative Shannon Byrd also wants to head to Washington, D.C. She's running for Republican Gabe Evans' 8th congressional district seat and is stepping down from the legislature to focus on the campaign. January 5th will be her last day, and a vacancy committee will choose a replacement. She's represented Westminster since 2018. Byrd is joined in the race by fellow Democrat State Representative Manny Rutinel and State Treasurer Dave Young. This afternoon, President Trump is expected to announce a $12 billion aid package for U.S. farmers who have struggled to sell their crops since the president raised tariffs on China. Farmers have been backing Trump politically, but his aggressive trade policies and frequently changing tariff rates have come under increasing scrutiny. Farmers say the tariffs are not only affecting them financially, but they're also dealing with rising costs in general. There is a peace deal in the works for Ukraine and Russia, but President Trump says Ukraine's president isn't ready to say yes yet. President Volodymyr Zelensky is in London meeting with European leaders today. He wants to strengthen his hand and not give in to all of Russian demands. Russia has not publicly approved the U.S.-backed plan yet either.